The Stargate project that we were told would be happening this year, would be going development, would be going into production, has been cancelled again. But is it a good thing or a bad thing? Welcome to the Tachyon podcast.
Our Tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
I just tried to do this on a live, using the YouTube live thing. And as I was chatting away, it suddenly went, time for a break, and just ended the stream, as far as I could tell. So sorry, guys. I tried to use it. I'll go back to StreamYard, something I actually know how to use. And I'm never using YouTube for that again. So apologies. It was crap. But anyway, I'm going to get the information now to you and why this project has now been cancelled, but why it might be a good thing. So let's just go through the timeline really quickly. I've done this a million times with you before, but let's go through the timeline really quickly. Amazon was bought by Amazon bought MGM. It was actually finalised in 2022, March 2022. Before that, we were told MGM were still sort of working on something. It was got the Brad Wright script, whatever, and then just after the sale went through, Amazon just put a hammer down and scrapped all those projects. So that was the first cancellation. Brad Wright cancelled. There was another script as well, another idea apparently cancelled as well. I'm told then, at the end of 2022, early 2023, a movie script was produced. I'm told it was, or I believe it was by Mark Fergus, but I'm not 100% certain, but I believe it was Mark Fergus. That was going to be announced at San Diego Comic-Con. That was being widely reported, not just me, even though we reported it first. That was not just me, widely reported San Diego Comic-Con. But then the writer's strike happened in early 2023, and even though a movie I'm told is actually in very early production, it was going to be filmed in Poland, England, and the CGI done in Germany, the strikes just crippled that. It was never going to happen. So it was delayed. I'm then told that late 2024, that same script was rewritten, and a new director was found. That is the script that was supposed to then go into production at some point this year once basically a space cleared up within the calendar. Now, I know that sounds a bit vague, but my understanding is the way the studios work, you'd think it was all like planned out years in advance. It's just not. Apparently, projects roll over and take longer than expected all the time, and that just basically means you can't solidly plan stuff. So what happens is you pencil stuff in and then you get a couple of people ready. And how many times have we actually heard something get greenlit and go in pre-production? They've got a director, they've maybe got a main actor, but then the casting happens like a couple of weeks before filming starts. That's just how they do it. So it seems like a hot mess to me, but that's what they do. So that script was a rewrite twice of the original script for the movie. Now, we were told that was going to happen this year, as I say. But what I'm being told now by a source that's actually worked on and off with both of these scripts, both of these projects, is that this was always considered to be a Jennifer Salke project, and she didn't particularly prioritise it. She was basically ordered by her boss, Mike Hopkins, to do a Stargate movie or series or something, and she never really prioritised it. And it's one of the reasons why she got fired. The main reason she got fired was because of Bond. You cannot cost your boss or your company £1 billion because of your incompetence and expect to keep your job. But now we're in a position where Mike Hopkins, who was saying well over 18 months ago, and we dropped exclusively to Jen Salke, that she needed to be pushing on with MGM products, MGM intellectual properties, because they just weren't, including James Bond and a million other things, because they spent 8.5 billion quid and they didn't spend that much money just for the MGM name. They spent it because of the library that MGM holds. There's things like 2001: A Space Odyssey, Ben-Hur, a million other movies. Spaceballs is the only thing they've got in pre-production and production now. It's the only thing from the MGM archive. That's not good enough. And Mike Hopkins was pointing at going, this isn't good enough. Stargate was in the top 5 things that Mike Hopkins said very early on in meetings, and we were told very early in meetings that must get done, and we wanted to get done quickly. 3 years on, We've only just got a director for Bond. We don't know who the James Bond is going to be, even though I have actually been told who it is, or who they've. It's not contracted yet, so it could still change, I suppose. But the director, Denis Villeneuve, whatever, I can't say his name. Villeneuve. Can't say names. The guy that did Dune. Let's just go with that. The guy that did Dune has picked who he wants, and they're just negotiating to get him to sign the dotted line, basically. And no, it's not Tom Holland. But they're trying to get a younger Bond, and like I say, that was always the priority for Amazon. Obviously, it was always the priority to get James Bond done. That's their billion-dollar franchise. But Stargate, etc., were always on that list too. So why has it been scrapped? Because Mike Hopkins apparently has looked at it and go, that's just not a good enough project. He doesn't like the script. He didn't like the director that was lined up. Basically, Jen Salke had sort of almost gone, well, I don't really want to do this, but if we're going to do it, we're going to do it my way. And Mike Hopkins is going to go, no. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? The worst thing that could happen to this franchise is a bad movie. If the movie had come out and it had been no good and it had been unpopular, particularly with Gators, but generally as well wider, if they'd released it at the cinema, which I was told that was the plan, it was one of the movies that's basically they're spending £1 billion a year on to go to cinema, it would have killed the franchise. It would have killed it dead. We've talked about this a million times, that we didn't really want a movie because we felt, or a lot of us felt, that it was too big a risk. Cinema is just confusing as hell at the moment. I would have preferred a lower budget and a straight to Amazon movie. There's less risk there, and it would have done well. I actually think us Stargaters would have watched it multiple times, and then that could have led into a series, which I think would have been the long-term goal for us all. We all really want a series rather than a movie, I think, even though, we'd happily take both. Don't get me wrong. We're a bit greedy when it comes to Stargate, but we'll take both. But the sleeping giant of sci-fi needs to be woken up at this point. But if Jen Salke had pushed through her agenda and allowed a movie that wasn't up to scratch to get done, then I think, as I said, it would have killed the sleeping giant of sci-fi. Killed it dead. Cut its head clean off. And it would never have returned. It would have been the end of Stargate for me. So maybe it's a good thing that Mike Hopkins at this point has stepped in and gone, no, enough's enough. We're not having it. I don't know. But guys, get into the comments and tell me what you think. Mike Hopkins has stepped in, gone, this is a Jennifer Salke project. I don't like it. We're not doing it. I'm not told yet whether there is another plan, is the big concern for me. I would be happy if my source, again, the source has worked on these projects on and off over 2 years. If my source was telling me, look, the movie's been cancelled, but Vernon Sanders, who's the head of TB, has been told to crack on with the series, I'd be like, yeah, cool, excited. As far as I know, they've just said no to the movie. I don't know if anything else is happening. That's my worry. But I will obviously keep my ear to the ground. But basically, guys, do you think, yeah, this is a good thing? If Mike Hopkins thinks the movie wasn't good enough, what are the chances we'd have hated it? And that would have killed the franchise. Let's do something good. I think I don't think we actually care if we wait 5 years for this, as long as then what comes eventually is awesome. Do we? Get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can become a member of the channel and get to see a lot of these videos before everybody else. Go check that out. As always, please stay safe and I'll see you next time.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.